We had quite a marvelous dive after we came back from the Catalina trip. Started out a little normal, a little bit of greenly action, but we ended up finding 2 gems out there with Greg. We were fortunate with the weather. We had a big storm come through, but it came from the south. Didn't have anything mixed up in the area we dive. And we were blessed with some wonderful viz. Here there's just a bunch of male greenlings coming to check me out. All these are pretty small, pretty cute, but it's nice to see a bunch of them regardless. Now the main star of the show today was the Sailfin Sculpin. It's a little white albino looking thing there with the stripe on the eye. I've seen a couple of them usually poking around like octopus holes, but never one this big. It was maybe around 4 to 5 inches, and also pure white. I've never seen this kind of thing before. The little orange belly on the bottom, like, turns out that their eggs are bright orange, and they come up and lay them in the very early spring in the kind of intermission between the subtidal and intertidal zone. So I'm suspecting that this is a female Sailfin Sculpin, and she's about to go out and lay a bunch of eggs for the next generation of Sailfin Sculpins. I end up trying to get the camera positioned in there, so just drop it in there and leave it be. And there you go, I got the angle right. You can see there's a couple greenlings skittering around back there. Turns out these Sailfin Sculpins are nocturnal, so hence why it's just holding steady and not really trying to escape at this point. Trying to hunker down and wait till night. And I got to really test this idea as all these greenlings were zipping around it. I'll bring out a little real-time view of, I think this greenling somehow knocked over the camera. I don't know how else the camera just magically fell over, but anyways, I reset the camera and let it keep rolling from a slightly different angle. So you get a little bit of a butt-facing camera here on the little female Sailfin Sculpin. There's a nice little cute crab in the back too. But I think this time of year and this time of day, they're just hunkered down. Here's a male kelp greenling checking out the camera, and you can see the Sculpin tensing up as the greenling just passes right beside it. Poor little thing probably got scared, but you can see it relaxes down a little bit and goes back to being a nocturnal animal stuck here in the daytime. You can see the giant sail on it peeking and kind of folding itself into the rock wall to camouflage itself. So really cool to see this, and feel very fortunate about having the time to bump into it. So we ended up swimming out to a slightly different area here. Went and go down a little deep and ended up finding this really interesting structure. I think this is the first time I've ever been here. Got to see that nice rockfish. There's a bunch of big scallops out here. And then this place was just full of female kelp greenling and a couple of males as well. Blue moss anemones and a couple of orange sponges. Really shows that this area gets a lot of current, and we're fortunately catching it right on the smooth portion. You can see a little bit more of the sponges there, and the king of the castle here was the other gem of this dive. This is a male Lingcod protecting its egg mass. So daddy's standing on those eggs and keeping everything essentially at bay, because open eggs are going to get eaten by fish, crabs, urchin even. So it's good to see a dad kind of in his zone, protecting it from everything else, and probably not very happy with me trying to wiggle in and leave my camera down there, but That's okay. And I will say this is the first time in this area I've actually seen a male guarding its eggs. They're a little bit rare to see in where we dive. There's not a ton of rock structure, and I don't think there's any artificial reefs that have been created. Washington State hasn't been big on creating reef structure, unfortunately. But still beautiful to see such a nice big fish still existing in these waters. We start to see a couple little perches coming in. I will say I had absolutely no idea that what you're about to see was going down after we were hanging out up above doing our breathe up with Greg. And if you're wondering, the orange pieces are there's a bunch of burrowing sponges and a bunch of other types of sponges that are in the area. But anyhow, the dad ends up going for a little bit of a walk. You can see right there the white is the eggs. And I think at this point he's probably checking the back of the camera. I'll throw the speed up on it a little bit until some things come through. But we ended up realizing there's a bunch of surf perch that were going through this area. We didn't see any single one of them. But the dad was not happy that there was some perch in his area, so he comes right back around and tries to posture some of the perch. And there's another perch comes from the other side, and dad's got his dorsal fin up. He's not happy. Trying to keep everybody away from his eggs. And this whole school is just beautiful. Just kind of shimmering around the back there as the dad and his eggs are playing out. We had no idea this was happening, but I will say I think this is maybe one of my favorite shots I've ever taken. I'm going to definitely be leaving my camera down below more often because there's a lot of activity that happens when you're not in the picture. You can see dad's a little restless. There's a lot of fish in the area, so. Sometimes when I was watching this for the first time, I was almost expecting this Lingcod to chomp on one of those perch because they're coming a little bit close. Maybe not close enough for him to take a little freebie, but I feel like it is getting, some of them were getting pretty close, the small ones especially. There's a nice big one in the back there. Keeping his distance. So I think at this point the male is just on guard, but I wouldn't be surprised if they came a little closer. He would have probably taken a little free snack. You can start to see his dorsal fins coming up. Reason being, because I'm coming in. And I don't think he's happy with that. Usually a lot of fish, when they get agitated or scared or excited, they'll pop their top fin. And there you go, he's not being too happy with whatever's going on. Actually, I come in a little bit later. I think he's just scoping out the area. Comes back in, parks right on top of those eggs, keeping them safe. And here we go. Now you can see it pulsing. Up, down, up, down, up. Because I'm coming in and he's not happy. You can see they're just frozen in there. And as I kind of pulled the camera out, he a little bolted out. I know he'll be back, but I think it was a little bit noisy with the way I pulled out the camera. So I ended up just cruising around a little bit, and you can see another one greenling comes up. This place was absolutely loaded with fish. And I couldn't see where he was, but I knew if I came down again, I'd see him. So I ended up surfacing and coming back down, doing my breathe up, and having one more pass. Say goodbye to old Daddy-O. Maybe I'll see him again when the season's open. I guess he hopes I won't. You see this big urchin, another scallop, more sea sponges. Very rich area. And there he is. Daddy-O standing on top of those eggs. I almost feel like at this shot, he was pretty tired of me. So having the camera kind of pushed up in front of his face, he ends up kind of squaring up with me. And that was a wonderful way to wrap up the dive as he nuzzles over and gets ready to square up with me and give me a little dirty look as I exit the dive.